Hi, my name's Caleb Rodríguez. Monitor engineer for Lana Del Rey. We are here night 2, Wembley Stadium. It's been a great time. SSL console has really helped me get through these shows. They've been a great time, and I'm glad to have this thing with me mixing these shows. I came to working for Lana as the monitor engineer. I was actually the tech beforehand and took over this role early 2024, and I've been mixing monitors for her since, all over the place. It's been a great gig. I've been on SSL the entire time I've been mixing for her, and this has been the right tool for this job, and it's been fantastic. On this gig, I'm using a lot of inputs and outputs, and like this console having the ability to route matrices the way that I can, stems, different outputs and inputs. I mean, alone I've got something like 30 or 40 talkback channels, which all need to go to different places and different people's mixes. So flexibility of like routing and different paths, and I can basically do everything that I need to do with this gig and do it quickly. There's a lot of inputs that are constantly being added or repurposed into different, repurposed into being used in different places, and being able to move them around, like I said, and route them different places on this console has been fast and easy to do. Live features that I'm using a lot during the show is definitely the query button. I feel like out of all the consoles out there, I can't imagine mixing or working without this button. Being able to really quickly just grab something and see what is turned on in that aux or that stem just quickly, and be able to quickly assign and unassign things into those auxes or stems, whatever it may be in that case. It's just so handy. That's definitely the most used feature for me live. And on the same side of that, just being able to just tap my query button and the green lights up on the others, just for me able to be able to see quickly without having to assign or unassign anything. Another feature that's really useful for me in this case is these 10 user buttons on the right-hand side. I use those for my talkback groups. And being able to assign things there and talk to specific people or specific groups of people, say like my principal or groups of techs, is really handy and really fast. And especially on a gig like this where I've got a lot of talkbacks and, different, like a bunch of different departments that those talkbacks need to go to, having this here is, how do I say it, lifesaver. I use the console to build mixes for techs and band members and Lana. I kind of approach that through stems in a lot of ways. I use stems for her mix to group tracks together, other vocalists together, and then band members together. And then I can mix those individual stems as their own thing, and then mix her ears much faster when there needs to be more band or there needs to be more tracks overall. We have a pretty high track count on this gig, so me trying to adjust all tracks in someone's ears could kind of be inconsistent. I find mixing into the stems has been really handy. I actually do that for techs too. I have, drums and tracks and keys and so on and so forth. So for other techs that need to hear other things, but it doesn't need to be very specific. They're not asking for more snare too, for example. Me being able to just have a drum group that I can add more or less drums into those places is really handy, and it makes it really fast, especially when I am dealing with so many other things going on all the time. That's kind of my approach, has been stems. In a lot of ways, that's kind of reshaped the way that I mix monitors. On the console, I'm using snapshot automation to obviously fire individual songs. Also taking things in and out of the scope depending on the need. Maybe sometimes I need to only recall certain things and vice versa. I also have MIDI on all of my snapshots to output to my waves, and that can trigger, with each snapshot, I can change what the program changes, and that's just hooked up to my live boxes down here. And that's all triggered off timecode by our playback tech. So keeps me right in time with everything that's happening in the show, makes sure she hears what she needs to hear for each individual song. And on a show like this with a lot of automation, programming, and moving parts in the actual show, it helps me not have to worry about that and be able to just keep up with what's going on the stage and focus on mixing her. First and foremost, my favorite effect on this console is definitely the Sourcerer. I have been using 5045s for a while, and they're tried and true, but I can't have a rack full of 12 of them. I mean, at least I don't know that I would get approved to have that. So having a Sourcerer, be able to just put that in on all kinds of different sources that are noisy, a lot of vocal mics. I mean, I use this for all kinds of things. Sometimes like noisy guitars. I mean, the Sourcerer is by far like the most used plugin on this console for me. Second would definitely be Blitzer. I use Blitzer on a bunch of things. I love it on drums, on bass. It sounds phenomenal. Snares. I use it a lot of places. I'm a firm believer in the Blitzer too. I've recently converted some people to kind of giving it a try, other SSL users, and they have fallen in love with it. So Sourcerer and Blitzer are definitely the ones that I reach for when I'm going to use something in the effects of this console. On this gig, front of house and monitors are actually separate from each other. We have an analog split and we have our own stage racks. We have a considerable output count and routing that needs to happen on stage specific to monitors and specific to front of house. So being split has been the best way for us to handle that, but we do have MADI splits coming off of the back of front of house racks to distribute to video and broadcast and so on and so forth. We also have another rack stage right for playback that we do share into both of our blacklights. So we've got quite a few racks going on stage, but for the most part, we are analog split. And there are racks actually in my blacklight that are just for comms and outboard and talkback channels and all that stuff that are not in the front of house blacklight. So it's quite a bit going on there as far as stage racks are concerned. But yeah, we are fully analog split on this one, just out of necessity. The only routing that's interesting with in-ear mixes really are for my playback tech. He has solo channels and he's got different talkback groups. So I feed his mix via matrix. And I have a normal mix for him on an aux that feeds that matrix, but there's also, solo channels and specific talkback groups and specific talkback channels. And I've actually programmed that to a couple of my user keys here so that if I need to go into solo, but she's on stage working, I can punch a button really quick. He can get in there, and that's all fed through the same matrix that feeds his transmitter, but we can do that seamlessly. And that's kind of one of the more complicated routing, I guess, to like someone's mix. But other than that, things are pretty straightforward. I would absolutely recommend the SSL Live to other engineers that are looking to be able to route things quickly, have all the flexibility and great built-in onboard effects. I mean, this console has been phenomenal for me. I've just continued to expand and push it to its limits, and it has caught up with me every inch of the way, and it has been tried and true on this gig. And I can't say it enough how thankful I am to have this with me on this gig.